pre-recorded live and broadcasting from their undisclosed location in the Bremerton suburbs. Sam Kramer.
Love is a terrible, terrible thing.
Mark Boutte.
Yay! Did I get my helmet off?
Two geeks on a quest to hear themselves talk as often as possible. This is the Gaming Disquisition.
The Gaming Disquisition with Sam and Mark for Sunday, June 9th, 2013. And show number 53 is Go. I'm Sam.
I'm Mark.
I'm Shyguy.
Wow. Hi, Shyguy.
Hello.
Yeah.
We are the Disquisition.
And as everybody knows, we every once in a while like to pull in a third party to share in our little fun.
To be very quiet and in the corner and be very, very shy.
Yes, welcome, Shy Guy.
Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi.
Yes.
That was a question.
Come on, Coleman, Dallas! Say something, my man. Hi.
No, seriously, this is great. This is great radio right now. But yeah, Mark, how about you? Let's start with you. What have you been doing this week?
How have I? Well, getting back into the swing of things after a very eventful June fair. Lots of fun was had. Another deer hunt.
Yeah, we're back after 2 weeks, and all sorts of matter going down over in the. Where did we even go? I can't
Port Gamble.
Okay, because
Yes.
I just get in the car and then people I magically appear in wherever it is that I'm supposed to be. That's just
Do
how
you
my
fall
life
asleep
works.
in the car? You just sit down, fall asleep, wake up at your destination?
No, I just don't look outside.
Why?
I don't know.
There's a whole world filled with things and trees and
Suns.
Why?
I'm just saying, it doesn't particularly matter where my geographic location is, so long as I don't have to find it.
We're kind of towards the not quite the tip, but definitely one of the higher points on the peninsula.
Okay.
Yeah, up there north with the,
I think this is kind of related in that, basically, anytime I go anywhere, I always talk about going up there, even
Yes,
no
in
matter
this case-
what geographic direction you're actually going.
In this case, you actually did go up there.
Yes. Well, oh wow, I now have to say down.
Well, then we came down home.
Okay, we did come down home.
Yeah.
Come on down to home in Georgia or something.
Aside from that, no, I really haven't been doing a whole lot. I guess. Gaming wise, not really. Oh, I did get to play another game of Chaos in the Old World the other day. After a while, I love that game. Great board game. You ever played it? No.
No.
All right. Basically, every player.
Was that the one where you are gods?
Yes, every player. There's a 4-player game. It's 3 or 4 players, but 4 players we really stress. You got to play with 4. Everyone takes on one of the Chaos gods from Warhammer, and the whole point is everyone's trying to take over the old world. So Warhammer Fantasy type thing. Mm-hmm. And every god plays different. They have their own strategies and what they're trying to do and how they can win.
Yeah, their own win condition specifically.
Pretty much. I mean, everyone either has victory points or a turn, there's a dial that gets turned under certain circumstances. But each god turns their specific dial for different reasons. And each one is basically Nurgle is supposed to be watching out to make sure Slaanesh doesn't do something. Slaanesh is supposed to be making sure that Khorne doesn't do something. Khorne's supposed to be messing everybody up by killing everyone. And Tzeentch is basically try to win. Just do your best. And there's actually in the back of the guide, there's a how-to guide, quick tips for each player to say, oh, if you're playing as this god, here's how you play them. And almost every single one of them, it says, ignore Tzeentch.
Nice.
Don't focus too much on Tzeentch. You'll probably mess up if you do, and it's going to be difficult to hammer them down because, the few times that say Khorne had his units in my spot, I either teleported his units to different areas or made mine just leave.
Now, is this also the game that basically nobody can win sometimes?
Oh yeah, definitely another one of those games, a la Arkham Horror or things like that. There is a circumstance where if there's an old world deck, at the beginning of every game turn. A card is pulled over, and if that deck empties before anyone wins, then the old world survives, and no one gains. No one takes over and does anything. So you can have everybody fail.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly is it captures a lot of the stylistic elements of the different the lore elements of those gods and their personalities, and it kind of quantifies them down to their. As far as the rules go, kind of really personifying those gods as it were.
Exactly. So, I mean, realistically, when it comes to this sort of game, normally I'd be like, oh, I want to try to play as all these different gods. But the way I really like to do it is I sit down, I play Tzeentch. I love the way Tzeentch plays. I've played as the rest of them, but I love the way it works.
So OP.
Right, and everything goes just as planned. But the idea is that I like finding a group I can play with that'll be like they want to play the same god each time, so we just keep getting better and better and better at playing it, so we can learn all the little intricacies of how to counter each other better.
Yeah, because as soon as you have those things down, like I feel like that's when the game really emerges. Because like now you actually like know what cues you're looking for and like how to respond to them. And
Exactly.
Stuff. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's what I've been doing since June for,
Shyguy.
Yeah, what do you got going on?
What is your gaming experience like these days?
I've been playing a lot of StarCraft 2 recently.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, with a friend. Actually, with my roommate. I'm getting better, but I'm still really bad.
Do you do like co-op two on twos basically?
Well, that, and then we don't get online right now because our internet's really, really terrible.
Oh,
but
man, I'm glad you don't have an Xbox One.
Yeah, seriously. But we have been playing against each other. And at the beginning, I was winning, but now not so much.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's
local multiplayer.
Yeah, local.
Okay, well, so have you gotten on board with the new expansion yet?
No, I don't have the money for it yet.
Okay, that's.
I've been looking at that.
I saw an interesting article on basically like they kind of brought back. Remember Spawn copies way back in the day? They're kind of bringing that idea kind of back, but it's a little it's not like where you like install a copy of the game on your friend's computer that only runs when you're around. But what they are using the term to refer to now, people who play with the expansion. Basically like lend the expansion to anybody else they're playing with at the time.
That's actually a really neat idea.
Yeah, you can only play Terran as it, though.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, though, but at least you still have access to some of the...
Yeah, you will get access to the... and you even get access to the Heart of Storm units as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
So.
Yeah, it would be really hard to split the community up like that between, because there's going to be three installations of this.
Oh, I guess, but I mean, that's something I'm kind of used to, for COD Blops. It's the idea, if you do not have the Uprising expansion, you just cannot play those maps, and if you want to play with friends and you have the expansion, they have to be the ones to find the game, because it'll actually say, one member of your party does not have these expansions, they will not be used in the match finding and stuff like that. But so we're just kind of used to the fact that if they don't have it, they just don't get it.
Yeah, so I think it's probably a good idea to maintain the continuity of the community. So I guess some props to that amount of forethought. But yeah, so you do a lot of StarCraft, and you do you have a particular favorite race you like to play?
Yes, I love Protoss.
Oh, you're a Toss.
Yeah, I just like them. So I had to learn how to play them. Not by play style, I learned to play them because I just like them.
Okay.
Honestly, I kind of got into Protoss because I love the aesthetics. The units are awesome. I really attach myself to them.
Yep. Plus, I do like the thought that it feels like you have more thought to it. You don't necessarily do, but it just feels like it.
Yeah, you can. There's definitely a little bit more depth of play. Sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
in reality, there's not. It's actually the least.
Oh dear.
It's a feel-good race somehow.
There you go.
It's like, oh man, you're totally being like this cool Scion guy. It's just more thought.
Sit down at your computer. My life for ire.
Yeah, no kidding. Going back to StarCraft 1, I think my favorite voice actor was definitely for the carriers. Because, oh man, you knew when a carrier hit the field because he just, announced his presence to, the room.
Yeah. Well, it's battle cruiser operational.
Yeah, he was a little bit kind of wimpy.
That. No, he was awesome, though.
He was awesome.
Seriously.
I would rather have a carrier, really. Carriers loved their jobs. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I was always fond of, Goliath Online.
Yeah, those guys were...
Yeah, I love Goliaths.
They kind of had that, superior technology kind of feel to them. Just I'm better than you, whatever.
My favorite was I don't remember the name. It was the first flying unit you got. I think it was a Scout. Wraith. Yes. That was my favorite voice actor.
That guy, nice. I would... He was so cocky. I couldn't stand him.
All right, I'm going over here.
Actually, okay. to be quite honest, he actually reminded me of a kid that I knew in high school. That I just
charging up.
I hated his guts.
Top Gun type thing.
My favorite part about it was eventually I was working at a call center and I actually got somebody who sounded exactly like him on the phone.
Really?
I'm really excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
Considering I've probably worked at the same call center, I'm assuming you're referring to that one. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite moments was when I was helping somebody set some phones up, and his phone goes off, and it happens to be the alert from Metal Gear Solid, and so I hear that, and I'm like, snake, and then he just like busts up laughing on the other end. So it was a good moment for connecting with the customer, I guess.
I suppose I worked there too, but I didn't have any fun gaming related things happen. Not really.
Didn't you have some kind of like thing that you did once where you just kind of like had this weird like quirk or something?
Oh, I started like talking in different like. I use different accents and stuff every once in a while, but as long as I used the same accent, it's like I didn't change it throughout the call. My manager didn't really care.
Wasn't I'm not sure if it was you, but someone told me the story about how they used to like say meow at the end of every like.
Oh, sometimes Great Dane. Have a great Dane.
Oh, have a great Dane. That's another good one.
Go ahead and have a great Dane. And, it's like oh yeah, thanks. It's like
wait,
have a giant dog. All right, just go and have one.
Yeah. So. So you're doing on StarCraft, and anything else?
Yeah, yesterday, around 11:51, I bought a new game, and I'm really excited to get started. It's Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing,
the new one.
Animal Crossing New Leaf. Yes,
3DS?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. It was actually the game that I bought the 3DS for. And it was the last of the 2010 E3 games to come out. So I've been waiting for this for like 3 years.
It sounds like it makes a lot of sense to put a game like that onto the mobile space, really.
It works.
So I'm gonna be honest. I haven't followed Animal Crossing all that much. So like, what are like the key differences going on with like the latest installment?
The biggest difference is you can add things to your town, which is something you couldn't do before, and that there's a lot more customization involved in it, which is something that game actually really needed.
Okay.
So you can change the furniture is more similar to how it was done in Sims 3, where you can actually change the prints on all your furniture. And you can put they call them community projects, but you basically build something in town, that to make your town a little bit better.
So it's like a wonder of the world.
Yes.
Well, it kind of like almost like Azure Dreams in that respect,
You keep on mentioning that, and I keep on not playing it.
You really should. I mean, it's kind of half Pokemon, half like turn-based tactical combat, and then like dating sim and like town growing. It's a great game.
Oh, that reminds me.
Do you ever hear about that?
No,
but for the PS1.
I want to play it now.
It's really fun.
It's an odd mashup that
yes, it really
that could potentially have answered our Inquisition this week.
Yeah, I have to say though, I haven't got myself a 3DS, and there's very little reason for me to do it. I guess there hasn't been a game on there that has just screamed at me that I need it.
No.
But
for me, it's like every month they have a new one. So
Actually, I have to take that back because I did hear that they're re-releasing Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons for the 3DS on the retro, whatever.
Link to the Past 2 is coming out.
Yes, and okay,
November.
that is coming 3DS. Oh, okay, there we go. Darn, that seals that. I got a PS3 for Uncharted. I got an Xbox for Fable and
for
Halo.
some reason.
And well, right, and I guess I'm gonna have to get a 3DS to play the new Zelda games.
That's how the.
Dearie me. Why did I get a PSP?
I don't know. So you could play Final Fantasy Tactics while you're at work?
Oh yeah, actually that's right. I did get like the Final Fantasy collections on my PSP. That's a good reason.
No, I thought what you did was you played it like using like the remote play. Remember?
I did something with that.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was you were doing, but that was something like when you were just working a desk at like a game shop or whatever.
Oh yeah, that and I got an emulator working on there too. So I was playing all my old SNES games on my PSP.
Man, that's a lot of labor going on there, huh?
Yeah, well, when you can play a game on a different console, remotely connecting to it with a different console, it just kind of gets ridiculous.
Did you know that you can play?
Yeah. That inside the Matrix.
Oh man, that was.
I suppose we should ask. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, to be quite honest, I've been. It's been a little bit slower gaming for me a lot recently. There was
oddly enough, same with me.
I don't know what it is. I just you spend a weekend outside and then you feel like the need to keep going outside.
It's really nice, and I've been trying to get outside to do stuff.
Yeah.
Odd.
I've had some books I've had to read, so I decided that if we're gonna do this somewhere, why don't we just do that outside?
Oh, I found my copy of Ender's Game. If you need to borrow that,
I probably should. I am working on 2 other books right now, but that will probably be the next one I get to. So just remind me.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I was doing a project on Dark Souls where I was setting up my Dark Wraith because Like there's something about invading other people's games and murdering them that just kind of like has a particular charm to the Dark Souls series.
You seem pretty attached.
Yeah, that's true. So I was I was working on that, and I was working on trying to to hit that guy out, and I realized, man, I'm on my third time through the game, and like I think I've hit a rut of just like, you know what, I've done this a bunch, and now I don't know if I want to keep doing it. But like
you hit that Dark Souls wall.
But I wanted to. But I know I want to make a forest guy, because like to try just to either be invaded in the forest or to invade other people in the forest. I've explained this. You know what it means.
Yes, I do.
So that's happening, but evidently I've just kind of gone on break for that.
Oh man!
I guess we're gonna flag that, huh?
I guess you can't see the forest through the trees at this point.
No, oh my goodness. See, we can't have this one because, like, I know there's like 30 of them that you just whip out and like on a regular basis. Like, you're just gonna like just run the gamut if you have to, but I'm only gonna give you one for all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Because you can string them in like a really quick sequence.
I guess, but now that you've kind of called me out, you put me on the spot. I don't know if I can do that.
Well, okay.
Okay. Are you? What you're saying is you're just getting bored?
Gonna leave it alone now?
What do you got there, Shyguy?
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Oh!
Yes! All right. Well, now that I guess we've gotten it out of the way of what we're all doing, this past week, well, what are we doing now?
Well, this is the Gaming Disquisition, where we go head-to-head on topics important to everybody.
Mainly gaming culture.
We tell it like it is.
What? How do we tell it?
I don't remember.
Line?
Line.
Come on. How do we tell it? How do we tell it like it is?
I tell it like it is. Oh, come on, some listener, he's an elevated listener, everybody. He has ascended to the ranks of, like, show host.
He is a representative of you.
And he has failed you all.
What do you got?
Seductively.
There we go.
Seductively.
Oh, you know what? I might tell it seductively.
And it all ends up with us saving the world.
Like we've been first doing since we first picked up a controller.
It's the midnight hour. Oh, but that's all we have for that. I think
the Gaming Disquisition after hours.
Speaking of which, we got to see if we can arrange a time where we can hit Overclock After Dark.
We really need to. We've been talking about that for like
we totally forgot about that.
Almost a year now.
But they do the show right about the same time that we do, and it's just been so late for us.
We should we'll just get our show out of the way early one day, and we'll plan for it.
At any rate, but
or even better, we'll go the lazy way. What we'll say is, like, hey guys, check out us on on Overclock After Dark,
Yeah, I suppose we could do that. That'd be a little bit lazy, but whatever.
Because we have not been told we're lazy at all, right?
Whatever. Anyway, but that's enough of that. We need to go back into the mailbag for this week.
Back into?
Well, we go into it every week.
We've been in our mailbag?
Like twice.
Oh, right.
Wow, you've been here for like 15 minutes. How did you manage that?
Just in and out of our mailbag a few times. Like a squirrel.
Well, if you'd like to get a hold of us in our mailbag at our Twitch Face Mail Plus, you can get a hold of us in the email at gamingdisquisition@gmail.com.
You can reach us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegamingdisquisition, or on the Google+.
Get a hold of us on Twitter at DisquisitorSam.
At DisquisitorMark.
On Twitter.
Tweet.
So, getting right into it, Chris via chat says, you need to be level 12 to turn into an elephant 3.5.
It's true, because it's a huge-sized creature.
That said, Wild Shape was still really broken, as was the Druid in general, but I sympathize with the guy who's writing in to complain about the Pathfinder version of Wild Shape. It just doesn't feel as cool as it used to. They changed heal and harm in the 3.0 to 3.5 transition. But dude, you want to hear about the Tarrasque? Did you know that Tarrasque can't hit ghosts? Did you know there are ghosts that have a touch attack that drains wisdom? Did you know Command Undead is a second-level wizard spell? D&D is weird. That's from Chris.
Problem.
Yes?
One very big problem.
Okay.
Go ahead and have a ghost. The DC to fail that save is so much lower than the Tarrasque save That it's just, there's no chance. Also keeping in
What do you
mind...
mean there's no chance? There's always a chance.
Okay, there's a 1 in 20 chance that the Tarrasque will fail their save.
Yeah,
but
so just keep hitting him.
I suppose.
Yeah, there's no risk. You know, he's a ghost. What's the Tarrasque gonna do?
I'm pretty sure there's a way around that.
Well, okay. So in D&D's design is basically a system of hard counters to every other.
It's true. On the other hand, I really like that idea, though. I mean, that is definitely an ingenious thought of how to kill the Tarrasque. I mean, I've heard some pretty interesting ways of how to kill the Tarrasque. Anywhere from plunging them into a pocket dimension to choking them to death. So,
that's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear that one if you got it.
Oh. No, it's actually not safe for air.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Again, I've heard.
So this one requires the book of erotic fantasy.
I've heard some pretty amazing ways to try to kill the Tarrasque.
Dan on the Facebook writes, "Look, there looks like there is going to be some cross promotion between the upcoming movie Pacific Rim and certain YouTube gaming personalities, specifically Total Biscuit, Husky Starcraft, Jesse Cox, Dodger, and the Game Grumps. I don't know where to find any written information, but here's TB's video and here's Jesse's video, which we'll be linking in the show notes."
That's kind of neat. I am kind of looking forward to Pacific Rim.
You know, I do kind of have a certain attachment to it, but I just don't know if I'm going to dig the American transition of or the translation of the giant robot kind of genre. You know, to me, it just feels like it's going to be kind of really grounded in marine culture of just not. Marine is in underwater.
Right, I get what you're saying.
You know, just it just feels like it's going to be, we're going to be hardcore military. But that's the kind of the ridiculousness of the military is what makes those, you know?
I mean, the old classic Godzilla movies and stuff like that, they had the military and they did their thing and it was always kind of weird and bork that they're the military is doing this now for some reason. And from what I understand with this one, again, I'm looking almost at it like it's a Cthulhu Tech movie in the fact that they're the way they're doing this stuff. So I don't know, giant robots and all that kind of stuff. We've had a few decent Americanized giant robot stuff, so might be awesome. We'll see.
So having watched the video, it's basically the idea is that all these personalities are going to have this battle royale and they're assembling the mecha in according to the votes on YouTube, which I think the voting's actually ended by now. It's a very, very short window. But yeah, they were gonna. I don't know if it's gonna It was so hard to kind of tell what it was talking about because I couldn't tell if it was going to be a video game or if they were gonna actually make a little event trailer movie out of them or something. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I did watch it. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, well, this is the Gaming Disquisition.
No.
But yeah, I think
re-sticking.
I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be something more I don't know, inserting them as voice actors into a movie or something like that. Because I don't know, for some reason, designing an entire game around the whole we have mecha games, and in fact they were playing a lot of mecha games while during the announcement. So
well, yes, on the other hand, we also have things like Robot Alchemic Drive and stuff like that we could probably,
which is awesome.
We could probably revisit and do either better or slightly less weird.
Yeah, honestly, I think of all the trailers, you didn't link the Game Grumps trailer, which by the way was the best one because they took 2 minutes and were hilarious the entire time. I love the Game Grumps.
I'm gonna have to check them out later.
Do you know who you know at least one of the Game Grumps who is Ego Raptor who does the sequelitis videos. Yeah. So that's his current endeavor right now, and I
find him rather hilarious.
They're just funny dudes, so check that out, everybody. Also, Dan goes on. Also, if you guys didn't know, the latest game by Mojang, Scrolls, just went into open beta, and we will be talking about Scrolls in the news section. So thank you, Dan, for that. Mm-hmm. Habadakis on Google Plus writes, "Hang glider hot drop a clock in Arch Age," and links us a video. Did you see that video?
I actually didn't. I was looking at this on my show notes here, and I'm like, what is he talking about?
So there was this PvP video that so Arch Age is I think it's a Korean or some East Asian MMO that looks exactly like World of Warcraft in terms of its customizable user interface and the 30,000 abilities and only 5 of which you actually need.
I actually do know a little bit about Arcade.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh, go on.
Yogscast played it for a while, and I watched that. It's basically a game. Most of it's a normal MMO, but it actually it's way more customizable. Almost all the towns are built by players.
Huh.
Yeah, that actually makes a little bit of sense. See if you can lend a little context to what I'm about to describe. Because this is what the video had, was basically, there's a bunch of dudes in hang gliders that would just, like, travel in this big pack and go to, like, really populated areas. And then they all dropped off their hang glider and started AoEing the crap out of anything they landed on, just, like, out of nowhere. So people just, like, hanging out by what I assume is, like, you know, like, travel portals or auction houses or something, just suddenly die to, like, a gigantic AoEs from, like, 30 to 40 people.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And then, in the back half of the video, they basically use a hang glider to, like, invade someone else's, like, sailing ship, and then took over the ship, and then started sailing around and, like, using the cannons to, like, you know, kill other ships, and, like, and they got, like, a whole bunch of their ships actually blown up, but then they would just get back on their hang gliders and, like, invade another one.
That's pretty darn cool, actually.
It was kind of funny.
Huh.
But yeah, it did seem really, like, player, like, oriented. Of just, like, you know, here are these like it wasn't like WoW where there's all these set pieces and, like, here's these ships that don't move. It seemed like if it was in the game, it was there to be, like, used or something.
Yeah. There's an entire continent that is completely player created.
Okay.
So the continent, the landmarks are not, but all the buildings, all the cities, everything was created by players.
Oh, wow.
So
that's actually really neat. I'm going to have to look into this now because that's kind of the style of game I really want to play.
Well, so I wonder what it's like. Like, I mean, it's one thing to have all this stuff created by players, but, like, there's a really, really big difference between Minecraft and the Pathfinder MMO, like, in terms of style. So, like, it's like, I guess it would be interesting to check out what the rule sets on, like how they cover the buildings and, like, you know,
whether
what kind
they're
of
templates, if they have slots or anything like that,
or what kind of player dynamics arise from that. I'm kind of
sure.
curious about that. But thank you, Habidacus, for linking that.
And thanks, Shyguy, for filling me in on that. That's
no
neat.
kidding. Like, I would not have known.
Hey.
So, last week we had a question for all of you, and a question, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And that question went a little something like this.
What odd mashup did you see or make, and did it work?
And Kevin on the Facebook writes, odd mashups? Oh, the best answer to me will always be the 6-string samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Chambara/Western movie about 50s style rock and surfer music players fighting off heavy metal death and avoiding Russians and monsters in a post-apocalyptic quest to become the king of Vegas. That's from Kevin.
Yep, I saw that movie years and years ago. That was hilarious.
So, like, it just sounds like they just kind of kept on, like, tagging on, like, taglines at the end of, like, you know, what their premise was.
It was, I think it won something at one of the big indie movie festivals and got itself some, like, you know, cult following.
Well, it's for something like that, it would kind of have to have a cult following.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think of it?
It was neat. I mean, it wasn't like the blockbuster of the summer.
Well, no, it's not going to be that.
But I mean, I will admit I was probably confused through a good amount of it because I'm just not part of the music community. So there were things that I just didn't quite get, or, like, you know. And of course, this was a good number of years ago. So I suppose I don't really have a clear memory of it, except for, like, if I recall, the main character was, like, this Asian kid with big sunglasses.
I see. Well, the thing is, like, it kind of reminds me of, I finally sat down to start watching Afro Samurai.
Oh.
And I was watching that with Kevin, and he was telling me that, like, evidently it's this big allegory for, like, the progression of music. So I'll be interested to see how that kind of plays out.
I have no idea.
Well, leave it to Kevin to know this kind of stuff, you know?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian on the Facebook writes, the mashup that holds dearest to me would be the art that Lisa has made of our Pathfinder game. The DBZ and Mass Effect dress-up of our characters absolutely tickles me in all sorts of awesome ways. That from Brian.
Yes, that is definitely one of the wonderful side effects of our game. And the personalities that the players have given their characters have kind of, like, they kind of transcend their characters a bit, and every once in a while they'll be like, oh man, we're like the crew of Serenity, and I'm this character, and you're this character, and you're this character. And, like, they'll be like, and then Lisa will start drawing, and suddenly we'll have, like, all of our characters, like, they'll all be depicted as their proxies in these other worlds. Like, on our wiki, there's actually, like, an alt art page where it has, like, there's a DBZ one where, like, you know, Jung-Sai is, you know, Piccolo because he's gonna train, you know, Kavin's son to be a warrior. Kavin is Goku because he's, like, main character itis with all the weird powers and stuff. You know, it's just all this ridiculous stuff, and it just meshes so well. But yes, very recently she just finished the full Mass Effect crew, where like all the, Captain Wilf, the gnome as shepherd, and Jungsai.
That seems kind of awkward in a way.
Kind of. Well, Jungsai, the half-orc samurai, as Rex. So or Grunt or whichever. But she did like all the armor and everything. Our crazy Oracle with all the tattoos is Jack. So good amount of stuff. She's doing a great job with it. But those are very good mashups.
All right, then. Well, that's all the responses that we had to this week's Inquisition.
Yeah.
So we have a new Inquisition.
Actually, you know what?
On the spot.
What do you got?
Shyguy.
What do you got mashup-wise from last week?
Let's see. I think Rune Factory, the series, is the closest I can think of.
Rune Factory.
Yeah,
I've heard of this. Go ahead.
It's created by the Harvest Moon creators.
Okay.
And they basically took Harvest Moon and a normal JRPG and stuck it together, and it somehow worked.
Oh, interesting.
The only problem I have with the game is it takes a really grindy game and a really grindy game and combine them into a really, really grindy game.
Oh, geez.
But see, all the elements are in harmony now.
Yes.
You have to level up your characters and fight monsters while also maintaining crops?
Yes.
Oh. I was actually kind of joking there for a minute.
Yeah,
like actual crops or like something
actual crops.
Oh, I was thinking like it took like the crop farming like idea and applied it to like crystals or something. But
the first one they changed for every single game. You did have crystals pop up after you had a full thing of whatever vegetable or fruit you made. And you could use those to heal yourself up and continue on, or you can just eat the fruit. But it's really, really weird because, like I said, it's very grindy. Where a Harvest Moon game can take 80 hours and a RPG can take 40. This one takes like 200 to beat.
Oh, good lord!
I've never beaten one. I've usually only get to like the third or fourth dungeon, and then I'm like, I'm done.
Okay.
Well, Japan has like all these really like hilarious ideas of like the grindy JRPG, like the games that have like a level cap of 99,999.
Oh yeah.
Just like, why do you need that space?
It's like playing Disgaea. Like, why would you possibly continue playing that game after a certain point? Because you can level up everything ever for no reason other than to do it.
Achievement!
Not even.
I know there's no achievements, but like that's like...
Well, there might be like a platinum trophy or something.
Yeah, so at any rate.
I
so
bet them.
So
people who do it.
So let's move right along
Dugga-dun.
to the Inquisition for this week. And this week's Inquisition was...
Brought to you by the LAPD.
All right, then. So let's take... So, in Los Angeles, let's see, the video game company Robotoki... Really? Robotoki is doing Call of Duty now?
What?
I thought there was Infinity... no. Modern Warfare is Infinity Ward.
I think so.
At any rate, so... actually, I think it might just be, like, there for decoration. Anyway, the idea is that there's a company called Robotoki that is headquarters in L.A., and the police got basically, someone hit a panic button, and so the police responded to what they thought was some kind of crime, and lo and behold, in the window, they see this guy, and he's, like, in full, like, military garb, and he's carrying assault weaponry. And they're like, oh my goodness, it's a hostage situation.
Yeah, guy kind of standing in the window, just kind of looking out the window dressed like this. But, it's a mannequin in a costume.
Yes, it is in fact just this little like some Call of Duty paraphernalia, basically.
It's for Call of Duty Ghost, which is going to be coming out, and it's a special forces guy, and he's like, it's just kind of just showing off what they're supposed to look like. But apparently, some guys in the office saw a button. There's security footage of these guys, and it's like they look at a panic button, they look around, they talk about it, and then they press it. They look around to see if anything happens, and then they just walk away. And because a panic button was hit, the police show up and they see there's a guy in the window with an assault rifle, and the hostage situation started. And they're like, "What's going on? Evacuate the building, make sure nothing's going wrong." And everyone's like, "What's happening? What's going on?"
Well, and so, just to quote from the article right quick, in turn, they entered the building armed with rifles and in anticipation of a potential firefight. Less than a half hour into the standoff between the ghost statue and police, they realized they were, in fact, having an armed standstill with an inanimate object. A realization that came before they decided to blast the perceived intruder.
Yeah, because, that's the kind of thing where they'd have, a sniper trained on the guy, all right, am I taking this shot? He hasn't moved.
I have a shot.
I have had a shot for 10 minutes. This is very odd.
I don't know why he's not moving.
He's really, really intent.
But yeah, so that and evidently, like just to kind of from the perspective of Robert Bowling, who is the studio head, he tells Polygon, "I was in my office when they arrived and saw him and saw them coming up the stairs, guns drawn. They yelled for me to put my hands up and walk towards them slowly. They took me into custody and out of the studio until they cleared the rest of the rooms and floors." So just imagine like this regular workday, and then like suddenly here comes like the police in like riot gear, and
guns drawn. Get out of here! Hands up! Walk toward us slowly. It's like, hello.
And for the people working on the game, this is a dream come true.
Yes, I mean, this is perfect. Good training for them, I'm sure.
Ooh, research.
Yeah. On-the-job training.
So, sorry, LAPD, but you've been hoodwinked with a really unfortunate set of circumstances.
Just a little.
But sometimes, like, things just happen that, you just...
Maybe we get a bit confused, or maybe someone just pulls the wool over your eyes just a little too well.
Which leads us to this week's Inquisition.
When were you completely fooled? Or completely fool someone else?
So this is something that, like, this is, obviously we'd like to do the whole games thing, but even if this is, like, even not games related, like, this just sounds like a funny story waiting to happen. So, like, I mean, it could be any number of things, really. Did you have anything in mind, Mark?
I actually did. We were going to SakuraCon. I believe it was I think it was SakuraCon. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. And Lisa had dressed up as River Song.
Okay.
And so we were wandering about, and everything was great. And I had known that there was a lot of Doctor Who cosplayers around, and they're all doing their thing. And we're standing up on one of the levels, and I was waiting for somebody to show up, and I'm just I'm standing there. I don't think I was in one of my costumes. I might have just been there. But I'm standing, and I start looking to my right, and as I'm looking, I realize there's a weeping angel standing directly behind Lisa, like in position, like just perfectly still, and like my fight or flight just completely took over me, and I started crawling backwards up like this garden type thing, like raised garden thing. I'm just like, I was just like, oh, what's going on? Oh, I get it. Funny. But it just completely and utterly freaked me out there for a moment, and I was just completely floored.
Because everybody loves a weeping angel. Remember the weeping angel mod for Minecraft?
Yes.
That was hilarious.
Terrifying. But yeah, I was, for a moment there, I was like, this is terrifying and I don't know what's going on. But definitely well done on their part.
So Shyguy, what you got?
Oh, I don't got much. I think I'm going to go back to the StarCraft I've been playing this week.
Okay. Sure.
I was playing a game with my roommate, and he was playing. We were playing Z vs Z.
Okay.
So Zerg versus Zerg, and I was Protoss. Never mind. But
okay.
So PVZ.
Yeah.
PVZ.
And
ZVP, AVVP.
He built his base up, and this was like one of the second games he was playing as Zerg.
All right.
And so he built his base up, and then decided to leave his base instead of putting his second base in the natural. He did it like all over the map.
Okay.
So he skipped his his obvious expansion and just like went somewhere.
Yes. And he kept doing that. And at the end, he had like 5 or 6 bases just dotted around the map, which is a terrible, terrible way to play Zerg because you want the creep everywhere.
Right.
But it was a pain in the rear to kill him.
Did you end up winning?
Yeah.
When did you figure it out? Were you like running into his base and you're like, haha, I win. Why hasn't the game ended?
Pretty much. Because he didn't kill off one of the pylons I had right next to his main base.
All right.
So I was like, oh, you lost. I'm sorry.
Oh,
and I went in there and I just basically killed him.
Yeah.
And
because in StarCraft 2, Protoss can like warp to their pylons,
yes,
right?
Yeah, the tier 1 units can.
Okay, yeah.
So I basically immediately had like 20 guys sitting right in front of his base, and he had 4 other bases on the map, and that made him survive for quite a bit longer.
Oh, jeez. I gotta love that. Actually, I used to use that tactic a bit whenever I played like Warcraft 3. I'd just go to like a corner of the map that isn't being used and start another base and just have them ready and defended just in case I need to fall back.
What I used to do is I used to build like a farm just like out in the corner where like nobody would see, and then after they would destroy their base, it's just like ha ha ha, good luck.
Oh, I have to destroy all of my of your buildings? Mwah ha ha.
So for my answer this week, we're gonna go back to good old Dark Souls, but that's only because this is such a great story. So there's this. So the forest. Stop doing that.
Stop doing what?
At least talk into your microphone if you're gonna lean on your hands very.
So you're talking about Dark Souls again. Please go on.
So the Forest Covenant is the one where basically the premise is that you're defending the forests and whatnot. The thing is there's all these NPC guys in the forest that initially try to attack you. But then, if you join the Covenant, they stop attacking you, and actually, you can still hit them, but doing so actually kicks you out of the Covenant. So it's not a good idea. So what somebody did,
gaining friendly rep with them or something.
Basically, yes. So what somebody did was he went into the forest to be invaded by the to have the people attack him.
Right, there you go.
But what he did was he took a look at the NPCs and found the armor sets that they were wearing, and then killed one of them and stood exactly where he was standing, perfectly still.
Oh no.
And so as these people come into his game to kill him, they're looking around, where is he? Where is he? And and he's on his screen, and they're walking right by him, just because they have no idea.
That's pretty amazing.
And I'm pretty sure you can't even really test whether or not even if he suspected that he was doing that, if you attack him, then that if you're wrong, that's bad.
Right.
So eventually what would happen is they'd pass right by him, and then he'd wait for his moment. Oh, I got a backstab, and now you're dead.
Oh, jeez.
It was really, really entertaining, and it makes me want to actually try it out. I don't know how much people fall for that anymore, but it made for some pretty entertaining videos.
That's actually pretty darn amazing. Getting the exact same armor set and just rocking people when they're not paying attention.
It was really awesome because everything that those NPCs you can do, including the semi-translucent one. There's a ring that lets you do it. So it's really, really funny.
That's actually pretty ingenious. I mean, I remember people wanting to do that in World of Warcraft, where they're I'll dress up as a Stormwind Guard or whatever. Problem was that your name was always above your head, and there's nothing you could really do about that.
But there's nothing like that in Dark Souls.
Oh, jeez.
It's a great idea. So that is this week's Inquisition.
Which, in case you forgot, is...
Which, in case you forgot, is...
When were you completely fooled, or completely fool someone else?
Send responses to the email at gamingdisquisition@gmail.com.
You can reach us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegamingdisquisition, or on the Google+.
Get a hold of us on Twitter at DisquisitorSam.
At DisquisitorMark.
On Twitter.
Tweet.
All right, then. So no more mailbag for the time being.
No more mailbag. Attica.
Oh, but we have to get into some other topics.
Topics, right? You know what topics we're talking about, right? Topics that are...
important to everyone.
There we go.
That's right. It's time for the news. And this week in the news, so we have a few more details on the Xbox as the Xbone has been kind of as the dust settles around the announcement. And Microsoft came out and said that, oh yeah, all those things that you didn't like about the Xbox, yeah, they're totally true.
Well, not every single one of them, but definitely a lot of the ones that had some people concerned.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So what are the big ones? So there's the always online connection, which is not always online, but is perpetually in necessity to go online on a regular basis. So basically always online.
I suppose.
I mean, an internet outage here and there won't hurt you, but if it goes down for a few days,
yeah, you never know.
But how about that? How about that used game thing? I think that's the cornerstone of this particular article. I think
I find myself completely uncaring.
And you know what? It's so unnecessary, really. Like, so the used game thing is basically what we're talking about. Is you can in fact trade, like, resell your games and buy used games and play used games, but you have to be, like, in order to actually participate in this, you have to go to a participating dealer who, like, signs on with Microsoft to, like, to do the thing with, like, the signing off on their, like, RFID chips on the discs or whatever. And so basically what it's talking about is you can't just sell your game just any old person. You got to go into GameStop. Or whoever, and I'm guessing it's pretty much just going to be GameStop, because no one else really takes used games.
Not really.
It's getting more and more to more retailers. I think Best Buy is starting to take them now.
Are they now? Mm-hmm. I had not seen
that.
That
is
used
true.
game.
I know they do use games at Best Buy.
They do. Okay, I've not been to Best Buy for a while.
Pretty terrible though.
Probably. Well, you're not getting much better at GameStop. But I mean, like, what confuses me though is this: that, like, why even go to any of this trouble at all? Like, why is it so important that we curtail, like, the ability to buy and sell used games if you actually want us to be able to do it? Like, what's wrong with just buying and selling it without Microsoft getting involved? What problem does this solve?
It actually solves a problem they created for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, because you download the games now directly to your Xbox One, you need to... Where it's died. It needs to be downloaded to the Xbox One.
Right.
That means it's actually on the system itself. So they needed to get a way to wipe it from your system when you sell it back.
Right,
but that makes sense. Because, well, at that point, then you have a digital copy, but they don't want you to maintain ownership of a digital copy if you're getting rid of the in what in essence is the game.
But do you not need a physical disc to play the game? I mean, like, that seems to be the obvious choice of, like, attaching the rights to play this game to a physical object, which is what we've always done, which is what worked just fine for up until this era, evidently. I don't understand what it was that. Oh my God! Really? I guess that's going on the Facebook.
I could not resist.
I'm sorry, it was a good story.
I'm just saying is all.
Stop, like, doing
visual gimmicks on an audio podcast.
Yes. What I'm saying though is that, like, if you already need a disc to play the game, why does Microsoft care when you give the disc back and when someone else buys it?
Well, because I guess at that point is if you want the game again after you've given it up, then you just buy the game again.
Yes, and what's wrong with that?
But if they couldn't take away your digital copy.
Your digital copy is useless without the game,
except
so long as they design it that way.
The whole point behind having a digital copy is so that if you own the game, you can go to any other Xbox One and play the games you own. That's the whole point. I mean, the fact that everything's bound as a digital copy, it's like being able to sit down at a friend's computer and say, hey, let me log into my Steam account and download this game so we can play.
That seems like a problem that nobody has.
I can see it being an interesting fix to a problem that has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
What? All you have to do is just bring the CD over.
I have to say, honestly, this is a situation
CD, disc.
This is a situation I think we're going to have to go into over a little bit more detail in the main topic.
Yeah, that's right.
We are going to go a little bit more in depth, but definitely there is a little bit more covered via Microsoft what was going on with their Xbone.
Mm-hmm. At any rate, so moving right along.
Dug it done.
So we now have DayZ release info, and we've talked, and they have announced the pricing model, which is exactly what it was before, or what they said it was going to be, which is basically the Minecraft thing, where you just, like, the sooner that you buy in, the cheaper it's going to be for you.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be doing that.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'll be doing that. I was just thinking the other day, man, I want to play DayZ again. I actually logged onto a server and spent a few minutes, playing on an empty server by myself. I'm like, oh.
I totally do not regret the fact that when I bought Minecraft when it was, like, first in alpha, and they're like, oh yeah, buy it for, like, what it was, like $10. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give them a chance. And now I can go and play Minecraft whenever I want with all the new features and everything. And it's like, yay, that was worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we all know, we both know, I don't know what your thoughts on the matter, Shyguy, but we both know we're buying DayZ as soon as it becomes available.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Not one of the games not one of the games I want to do because I don't play competitively.
Well, you don't have to play competitively. I mean, well, okay.
You kind of have to.
Let me take a step back there. You can choose to play the game very cooperatively with your friends under the auspices that, yes, there are other people out there having, that are going to push your stuff in if they find you and you're not going to, be able to stop them sometimes. But the point is, I mean, you've played MMOs, right?
Rarely, but no PvP ones.
No PvP at all?
No.
Like, not... Well, I suppose. I mean, just when it comes to the DayZ never really felt competitive to me.
Well, okay, it feels more emergent than competitive because, like, when you see someone you don't know, there is a tension there because, like, yeah, he could kill you, but, like, maybe you will actually begin cooperating with this guy, but for how long, and, like, oh, our group size is too large now because, like, we're just really a huge moving target now. So maybe we need to split up and like maybe you meet later on and accidentally kill each other. Like it's just kind of like there's this possibility space more so than it is like, oh, I'm going to beat you now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm interested and so far like it's kind of frustrating to see like the developer commentary basically being like, oh, we put clothes in. It's like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they were talking about on the DayZ thing here that they are moving the server structure to an MMO model. So there are going to be existing servers where people can go and do stuff on?
Well, no, what that means more so is that like it's the stuff that was handled client side and now gets handled server side.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was going for, though.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be something where their price point and everything is all going to be kind of going with that, and that makes a lot of sense.
Wait, their price point at the MMO?
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Just the idea that, okay, they're going to be, like, the way that they're handling everything and the way that there are going to be servers that are going to be run, as opposed to just people running their own DayZ servers.
I think you might still be able to do that, honestly. I have been lax in my in the DayZ coverage, to be honest, but like I think the Hive is still considered a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that like the Hive computers are making all the decisions. Like basically, it's an anti-hack method.
Oh, I gotcha.
So that you can't just spawn in stuff on your own, which is a major problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, DayZ's coming soon-ish, even though it was supposed to be done by the end of last year.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's done when it's done, I'll play it when it's done.
Well, you can also go by Miyamoto's theory on games. Is delay a rushed game is terrible always. A delayed game can be good eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. And of course, like with it being like the early release is going to be more like a playable alpha to beta stage. So like you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And so, at any rate,
he did say that there's a almost certain console port.
A console port.
That brings up very interesting questions as how they're going to do their interface. Because if their interface is going to translate to a controller, think about that. I mean, think of how DayZ is with all the different controls they have and all the intricacy of the game. Now port that onto a controller.
Yeah, I mean, like the problem with that being that like there's a lot of like nicety buttons in that game, like the compass button and the watch button. That like if you include all of those, that might be too many buttons for the.
They might just have like a quick action thing where like you assign things to a button. Like select could be your compass, and unless you've set it to be your map or whatever.
Maybe
I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure.
Anyway, so Dan sent us a little bit of information on Scrolls, which is the new game by Mojang, which after it was announced that it was a collectible card game, Sam decided that there's no possible way that this game could actually be good.
It doesn't interest me anywhere near as much as I thought it was going to.
Really?
As soon as I found out that it was going to be like a collectible, like a CCG / strategy game, I just completely lost interest.
Really? Because you like Magic a lot, though.
Yeah. Well, not enough to continue playing it.
I suppose not.
I mean, that's really the kicker here. I mean, do I play Magic now? No. The only reason I would play Magic now is if we busted out some old cards, built decks, and had some fun. Just with a small group of players. With Scrolls, I mean, the way it's looking is it's definitely they're going for more of a competitive edge. It's going to be like highly collectible. You can you earn money to buy new cards to do this thing. I mean, it's all in game.
All of the things you just said are all completely contradictory.
What do you mean?
Because if you're going to have a competitive game, why is there this grinding aspect of like, you know, either you're grinding for cards using whatever like currency that you get awarded, or you're just buying the cards straight up out of. I'm pretty sure that they have a pack. I was talking with Dan the other day about this. I'm pretty sure they have like a card pack model, the same as Magic does, which is completely random what you get.
Yep, I actually watched a review on it, and yes, they do have a card pack model. You can actually spend real money on cards.
Well, see, the thing is, I actually prefer it if you can just buy the cards outright, because at least at that point, you can take a look at like the deck that you want to build or the cards that like are required to be competitive, and then you get to make a value judgment. Is it worth, you know, my $89 or whatever to play this game?
So, I mean, again, when I looked at it,
not quite how it works. It is still random. You just get a pack.
So you still can't buy just like straight up like individuals.
There's
a trading though. You can trade cards.
Yeah, but like that's you know, that's still kind of like I guess what it comes down to is there's so many things wrong with the model that like we kind of become complacent in because we like collecting things.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the gameplay video and I was reading some of the stuff about it, and it just doesn't do it. I mean, that style of game, it reminds me of like I Have Judgment, and every time I look at that style, makes me think of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Really?
And it hurts my soul.
You know, it just seems though that the like I mean when I say that there's so many things that like are so contradictory about this, one of the big problems I have with CCGs in general is that they're so hard to balance. Because, like, if you're constantly cycling in new cards...
Yeah, you must be infesting me, because I looked at the... as I was going to the video, one of the little pop tags was, you know, constantly adding new cards. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be very difficult to balance if they're going to do that.
It's kind of like what I said to Mills way back in the day, where, like, you know, if Marvel vs. Capcom 2, with its, like 50 or 60 characters or something... And then that got boiled down to just 3 characters that only anyone ever plays in tournaments. Like a large cast is hard to manage without having those extreme
power combos. Yeah.
So there's probably some number of heroes or characters in that game that like would create an optimal game of of the best balance. I don't know what that number is, but I can tell you with certainty that number is not more and more and more and more forever.
Right. You know, of course, that wasn't necessarily the draw. The draw of the game was characters.
Yeah, but I mean, at least there was a finite amount. Like it just seems that would be detrimental to like the whole design process of just like constantly adding new crap.
Yeah.
You know, so if you like Magic, you'll probably like this for being completely automated and not like losing or bending your cards. But like, I cannot get behind this as a competitive venture because it just doesn't feel competitive.
I don't know. Maybe if none of my friends get into it and they say, "Oh, come play it with us," I'll probably cave and probably play it with them. But I just do not want to sit around and spend a bunch of money on digital cards.
So, I'm sorry. Did you?
No, I'm completely agreeing.
Okay, cool, awesome. We are in agreement in the Gaming Disquisition.
Oh, weird.
So that said, so EA is going to
try to knock League of Legends off its throne.
Essentially, they're trying to cash in. I mean, take on League of Legends, and basically they're putting out a game called Dawngate. And it's going to be like, so all we know about it really is Dawngate is a new MOBA, and it's built from the ground up to look and feel familiar while offering a whole new way to experience MOBA gameplay. So this is kind of the weird thing about this idea, because it's talking about basically like intended features for this game is going to be community-driven lore and an emphasis on character customization. Wait, what? What does it even like? So how is that even like a thing? Because like player created lore with a MOBA is such a weird thing to think about.
To be honest, what I think I'm getting out of this is there's going to be like the character creation kind of thing for what is it, Dawngate? Yeah, what it sounds like is they're going to have you create a character that's going to get better and better as you go, and that's going to be like forging the story of the MOBA, which I never really saw there being much of a story behind the games anyway.
The lore is really not at all important to the MOBA, which Riot Games kind of knows, because like if you look at their like how they treat their like lore and characters, everything is tongue in cheek. Like nothing is actually serious.
Right, it's like the story behind Quake 3. oh, by the way, everyone got sucked into a giant tournament. Fight everybody. Woo!
I mean, it's just really not an important part of the genre. So making it like player oriented, like just think of what 4chan would do to like if they asked them to make lore for the game.
Oh dear.
You know, like that's what I'm talking about. And like what this reeks of to me is basically what I call bullet point design, where they take like, you know, they take like bullet points from other games that seemed largely successful and they just throw a bunch of them all together. So like we're gonna like, you know, oh man, we heard that like players like to do things to, like forge their worlds. So we're gonna help you. We're gonna let you do that with the lore, because lore is really important, and like, you know, because that's another bullet point that games have, and it's a MOBA because MOBAs, there's a lot of money in it right now.
Classic MOBA gameplay: forge your own character, 200 extra wiffle balls.
It just seems like this like yet another odd mashup that doesn't really make any sense on the surface.
I have no idea. I mean, I've never gotten into the MOBA games anyway, but creating a character and doing whatever they're trying to do, I don't know. I'll have to get more information before I put down the judgment hammer.
I won't. I'm going to make a judgment right here now.
I don't know. Do you play any MOBAs at all? I mean,
no.
Again, no real competitive gameplay there.
And yet you play StarCraft. I mean, with your buddy, understandably.
But, yeah, it's just him now.
That's the thing is, I think you're a little bit more of a man behind my heart, because like the idea of, I like competitive multiplayer in small doses with local people who I can sit there in the same room with and play, rather than play online with a bunch of people, because I prefer whooping the tar out of my friends in the same room than I would just whooping some guy online I can't point at and laugh.
Oh, you can though. Just have you ever heard have you ever heard the voice chat?
Well, yeah, but I just can't stand the people online. I mean,
wouldn't you want to kill them then?
I tried so hard to listen to people talk in Call of Duty. I lasted like 2 days listening to people talk, and then just found out people would just like put their headsets next to their boombox, and I'd be listening to rap while I'm trying to play. It's just like, all right, this is a thing.
To be fair, that happens a lot in Team Fortress 2 as well. We're just like, well, only there's even better there, because like you can actually like directly link up your audio out and everything to. So yeah, at any rate, you just said boombox, didn't you?
I did.
Welcome back to the 90s.
Oh man.
All right then. So moving right along.
Dugga-dun.
So there's a game called Guncraft, and
there certainly is.
Evidently, it's going to be released on July 11th. So when you hear the word Guncraft, this game is exactly what you think it is.
Yep.
Basically, it is a first-person shooter with capture the flag elements, only with Minecraft elements. It has the whole like blocky aesthetic. It has the ability to basically like destroy and create like terrain, and basically to be able to like build whatever it is that you want, which sounds a lot like Ace of Spades now that I think about it.
No, I'm on board with this, honestly. I think this sounds hilarious. Not only would that make the map creation tools incredibly easy to use, I mean, think about all the things that people make in Minecraft and now turn that into a competitive first-person shooter. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But what they're talking about more is being able to build that stuff on the fly in the course of the match.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Right.
Like blocking up a door, or like, you know, getting yourself up on terrain by building a staircase, or any number of things people do.
That actually sounds like a lot of PvP matches, Minecraft servers.
Yeah.
Where they actually give you a certain amount of blocks, and they can create some ridiculous like bridges and things. They don't really look really good, but they do.
They're function for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just add guns into the mix.
Oh my goodness.
See, I'm worried though about this kind of game though, because it seems like with the sheer breadth of ability to do things, like just like with the like almost unlimited space of like things that you could do, things you could build, techniques you could use. Like it just seems to me that like someone's going to find like something really just completely unstoppable really quickly, and then like and then it'll be one of those games where it's like, oh man, well here we have all these, like you're not allowed to like build this kind of castle.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think we're going to have a lot of servers with a lot of house rules.
I'd say that yes, we're probably going to do that, but that's with any FPS where players have control over server specs.
But I mean, what I'm talking about more is like soft rules, like unenforceable rules.
You're going to get kicked because you didn't follow this rule that we had where you can't jump up on this one piece of terrain.
I was looking for a way to talk about this, and I'm glad I was able to find it. There's this private server hub. Vigilant Addiction runs it, but it's a DayZ private server hub. It doesn't connect to the main hive, and the whole point is that like they're basically like not invite only, but you have to be like all registered with them,
sure.
And like And if they suspect that you're botting or that you're doing like hacks or whatever, they'll ban you. And so, like, it's basically there so that you can play mostly hacker-free because it's so closely moderated.
Right, it makes sense.
But they also have a version that's called Faction Daisy, or Faction Z.
Okay.
Where, like, you actually have, like, people that you are on teams with, and they have, like, safe zones and everything, and, like... And so, like, and they reset the cycle over and over again. It's a really neat idea. The problem I have with the server, though, is that there's just so many soft rules. Like, you're not allowed to go within, like, 500 meters of somebody's base. You're not allowed to, like, shoot somebody if they are, like, if they are, like, like on like if you're not within the 500 meters of their base, but like they are somehow, like you have to like kind of know somehow that their helicopter is like in a no kill zone.
So this is kind of the join our club, play by our rules or else type thing.
Well, yes, but the rules are so many and varied and like just like I would
no thank you, sir.
I would be very worried about like accidentally breaking a rule and like and the moderators are really just like asses. Like they just have this attitude, so it's like I don't know about that. I would want to try it out, but it's I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Other than that, one more news article, real quick. So everybody know Hatsune Miku?
Nope.
Yes.
Yay! Someone who knows Hatsune Miku. So
I actually don't.
Actually, you're probably going to know a little bit more about this than I am. So go ahead and explain that to all of our listeners who are not familiar.
Okay, Hatsune Miku is a Vocaloid. She is basically a voice synthesizer. People can use her to make songs.
When you say her, it's not actually a her. It's like it's the computer software. But it's kind of styled and modeled after like the whole Japanese kind of teen idol kind of thing.
Yes. And it's very fan-driven. The characters' personalities are completely decided by fans. So it's basically the actuality of people deciding, 4chan deciding things.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, there's an interesting little blurb. It says, for those of you outside the thriving digital girl loop, Hatsune Miku is a Japanese pop star that doesn't actually exist.
That's exactly what it is.
Created as a mascot by Krypton Future Media, and her voice is fabricated entirely by Yamaha's Vocaloid 2/3 software. During her live shows, yes, live shows.
I want to go so very bad.
Projection, much to the chagrin of her enthusiastic diehard fans. If all that sounds familiar, don't get it backwards. Tupac got the idea from Miku. Interesting. So yeah, that's a thing. But I guess
basically what you do with this software is you program in lyrics with melodies and you put music in back of it. You can even like create like whole music videos where they're dancing and stuff. You know. Yep. So it like and if you just like go to YouTube and just put in Hatsune Miku, you're gonna find like a lot of really popular songs that have been like published through this medium. Really
interesting. That is a very
about 10 of them are on my playlist. So.
it's a pretty big phenomenon in Japan.
That's a thing. I guess.
It's been around for a long time actually. Mm-hmm. So just now coming to America, it's kind of a big deal. We'll see if like
we're getting it for the PS3.
We'll see if like the aesthetics and the sensibilities that like drive like the Japanese culture kind of resonate with us here in the States. I think that might be a little awkward for some people.
It would be very awkward to some people, but people have been waiting. The anime fans who are into Hatsune Miku have been waiting for this for quite a while.
Well, congrats to all of you, and I can't wait to see what you guys get. Like, are you actually going to be able to have her sing English lyrics? Is that going to be a thing, or can you already?
Eventually, that voice bank hasn't been made yet. They made the first male Vocaloids voice bank English now.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's a lie. It's the first Japanese male voice bank. His name is Kaito.
I actually just thought about this. Actually, this is a really interesting step forward. I mean, taking it out of games entirely, but one of the big problems that people have been having with, say, just creating realistic robots and things like that is the inability to create like realistic sounding and casual sounding voices. And the fact that this kind of thing, is coming to the consumer level is so easy to be able to just like
I'm going to have
songs go, I'm
going to have you listen to some of them, and you can decide for yourself how well synthesized the voice is. It's really pretty good.
Yes, but show him Vocaloid 3 rather than Vocaloid 2. It's very, very different.
Okay, well, I'm not going to know the difference, so you're going to have to kind of guide us on that one.
Theoretically, using that kind of software to run, like, robots and to be able to create things. I mean, Siri, as an example, just as a series of pre-programmed phrases, it would be better if there was just a massive bank of things that could then be, like put together to make normal sounding speech.
Yeah, the only problem with English specifically is it's English.
Well, yes. So I mean, it's
so
something
more
we're
difficult, yeah.
It's something we can definitely move towards, though. That's why that kind of excites me on a transhuman level.
And that's all we have for the news this week because we are running out of time. So we need to go to the break and listen to some tunes. When we come back, we are going to be talking all about something that hasn't even happened yet. But why not do a little speculation?
Yeah, we got some speculations on some consoles and such.
On E3, coming your way probably after you've actually listened to this episode, but you can hear what we thought about it after it has happened. Yeah. And all that more coming your way after the break, so sit right there. This is the Gaming Disquisition with Sam and Mark, and by your own volition, this edition of our Disposition Inquisition will be back after this brief intermission. The Gaming Disquisition with Sam and Mark continues. I'm Sam.
I am Mark.
I'm Shyguy.
And this is the Disquisition.
And the Disquisition is here to stay.
That we are. Main topic is coming your way in just a moment. Music from the break this week. Our first track is called Liftoff, Get High, in little parentheses, because that makes it awesome. This is a track that comes to us from Drew Wheeler, also known as halc on OC Remix.
It's.org.
It's a track that comes from the game Pilot Wings, way back in the SNES era.
I do remember that game.
All I can remember of that game is just penguins diving into large pools. It seems to be a thing, right?
I actually don't remember the penguins.
It was maybe it might have been a different version of the game, but like
Possibly.
it's like how there's like part of it like paratrooping. Like the penguin just dove just like right into a pool.
You ever play Pilot Wing 64?
No.
That was a little bit more fun.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. But this track is even more fun than both of those things combined, guaranteed, or your money back. This is the liner notes of the track goes like this. This is probably the simplest track on the album in terms of composition and production, but sets the tone for the rest of the album. Kick back, grab an in-flight drink, and enjoy. That's from halc. And this is what he's referencing is one of the many OC Remix albums. This one called Pilot Wings Take Flight. This was when was it released? That seems to be kind of like I feel like that one's probably been around for a while.
Oh,
no, the album.
Oh.
I am going to find that out later. So, so this is what I really like about this track, though, is it kind of explores some of halc's kind of sensibilities of like he likes to work with chiptunes a lot, but to kind of take them into a he's not completely married to just doing like what is the term for that when it's just like it's nothing but chiptunes and it's like totally legit.
You got me.
It's like the opposite of that is like fake tune or whatever. Anyway, but this is really representative of some of his style, and I really liked the particular take on this track. He also does a lot of other music that is actually, if I recall correctly, he's just released a new album that let's see. Someone talk about the music so that I can go and find that website.
Well, I guess as much as I could say, really. I mean, people kind of know by now that I'm not really an expert with this sort of thing, but
tell us what you like.
I really actually enjoyed the chiptunes on this one. It just drew so much from the original, and to give it such a really upbeat feel. Because I mean, the original was upbeat. I mean, the game was all about fun and flying and falling, really. But it always had that kind of high flying adventure type music.
Like Locke's theme, only it's sad.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is happy.
It was very happy, and they really did a good job kind of holding on to that.
So yeah, if you'd like to check out more by halc, he just released his new album, Pixel Perfect Micro, and you can get that at halc.bandcamp.com for more information on that. Our next track is called A Healer's Touch, Theme of White Mage. It's a track that comes to us from two people that we have featured before, a collaboration between Avaris and Level 99, as they are known on OC Remix.
It's.org.
This is a track that comes from not just the Final Fantasy V game, but also the other Legend. I always forget the name of this album, but
I was about to say Voices of the Livestream. Yeah, I know which one you're talking. The
Final Fantasy V Fabled Warriors.
Fabled Warriors,
where this was evidently going to be a 4-part series with all the different crystals and covering all the different jobs of Final Fantasy V.
Yeah, we've featured Theme of Monk. We've done Theme of Black Mage.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, we kind of like this album on the Gaming Disquisition.
I think we did the night, didn't we? It was very, very heroic sounding. I remember we talked about that.
I think we. Yeah, you know what? You're right, because I remember talking about how it just seemed very Chocobo like.
Yeah.
in some ways. But yeah, so this is a lot of this has to do with kind of that classic, when we had the interview with Level 99, I kind of cited this one as the classic, the classic Level 99 sound.
Yeah.
Where he just has that his acoustic guitar and just the way that he makes that sing. And I've had this track for quite a while, and I still love going back towards it. So if you are interested, for newer listeners, if you go back a number of episodes, we actually have an interview with Level 99 where he talks all about his production of that track, along with many others. But for this particular track, he had this to say. I wanted to have a sad, depressing take of the prelude at the beginning. The healer's in the party for a reason, and no one likes to get hurt. I was aiming to get out the fears that someone who would need to go to a healer could have. What if I can't be fixed? After a minute of minor focused renditions of the Dear Friends progression A, with the prelude theme incorporated on top of acoustic guitar and a variety of orchestral instruments, the healer's theme of Dear Friends is switched to major with acoustic guitars carrying the song. The healer evokes a warm, caring aura, the kind that only family or close friends can give off. When in the healer's presence, it seems like everything will end up all right. The warm acoustic is backed by some subtle instruments meant to reinforce the Dear Friends melody with some small counterplay. I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology here. As it switches to progression B, the guitars strum a bit more, and the theme is carried on with a hopeful trumpet laying on top of the melody. Low strings still holding the basic chords. At the end of the progression B, a last resonating guitar note echoes as the pain is now completely gone and the healer's job is done. The fear and doubt all but a memory. This person truly has the healer's touch to cure ailments and allay fears. This goes on for quite a while. I took care of nearly all the arrangements, playing off of Dark Sword's feedback whenever it was given, and approached Avaris for mastering and production. It would not have had either any of the warm sound and feeling without his touching up the work I had written. Working with him is always a great pleasure, and one I've been lucky to have taken part in more often recently, such as the Xenogears track Quickening. I hope the healer's touch warms your hearts. That from Level 99.
That's a bit of a wall of text there.
He definitely has a very specific approach to his music, and he really likes to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would like to hear more music from either of these two fine fellows, you can check out Avaris at soundcloud.com/sonic-elements. And you can check out Level 99 at level99.thestuffoflegends.net.
And as always, you can check out the show notes and the Facebook for more websites to these artists and the links to the higher quality versions of their tracks.
All right, then. So moving right along now.
Dug it done.
So we have the main topic of the show, and
I was actually going to ask, did you have anything about the music you really liked, or?
Well, you only showed it to me for a few minutes, but what I did hear, I did really enjoy. I was kind of sad when you turned it off.
Are you much of a Final Fantasy fan?
I didn't get into Final Fantasy because I never owned the PS2 until 10 came out, so I played 10 first.
Oh, what a great place to start!
I didn't actually know that you played Final Fantasy 10 was the first Final Fantasy you played.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then I went back to 7 and 9. I still haven't played some of the older ones.
5 and 6, I'd say should be on your list. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have them for DS around here somewhere.
I thought you would have said 4. I thought that was your favorite, actually.
4 still very, very dear to me.
Okay.
But, between them, 4 and 6,
I'd say all of them are dear friends.
You, friend, are living in a fantasy world.
I'll make the final pun. Because we really don't have time to go on with that.
So you're growing a bit soft.
Square
soft?
Oh! But it's hip to be square.
Oh, good lord.
Okay, so that done. We're going to go on to the main topic of the show, and, a little old something is going to start tomorrow called E3.
I don't know. What is this E3 thing people are talking about?
Well, E3 is where gamers really shouldn't be paying attention because it's not for us at all. So I guess topic over.
Well, I mean, last I heard, E3 is one of those places where a bunch of really big, studio executives show up and pat each other on the back and talk about how awesome it's going to be, all the money they're going to make.
And then somebody comes up and complains about some sort of flagrant display of sexism in video games because of some particular after party action or something. Yeah. I'm sure that's going to happen as well. But other than that, that's about what E3 is going to be. So that's all we have for this main topic. So
mainly, I believe what we're really going to be covering today or at least talking about, is the things that we do know about things that they are going to talk about. Mainly those the 3 major consoles that have either been released, i.e. the Wii U, or the X-Bone of the PS4.
All right, and to that we turn to our correspondent in the field, Shyguy.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
You're our correspondent.
that is
Okay.
that is what we brought you on the show for.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really sure where I want to start. I guess we should start with the...
Pick a console. I mean, we already know the Wii U's out. So, I mean, we can talk a little bit about... we know what features they included. We know how they changed things.
Yeah.
So
I guess we could start with Nintendo, since they are doing the most different for this E3.
Oh, do tell.
Well, they're not having a press conference. They're doing a Nintendo Direct, which is something they've been doing consistently over the course of, 2 years. A Nintendo Direct is basically Iwata gets up and talks very slowly and very boring and does something weird and tells you what Nintendo's doing.
Okay.
And then Reggie steps up and monotones you to death.
Oh,
No,
Lord.
I think Iwata wins on that one.
He tries.
Yeah, at one point he was staring at fruit, and I still think that's kind of an infection for
Staring
Nintendo
at
for Nintendo executives, just to stare at fruit for a while and then act surprised when you show up. It's happened at least 3 times so far. Yeah, that's basically what they're going to do. It's a lot different because there's not going to be the big E3 conference. There's not going to be the big crowd that shouts when Zelda shows up on screen and things like that. But it will still show all the things. So it's not going to be that big different, but it's going to be sent directly to us rather than the fans, rather than sites like IGN and GameSpot.
How are they getting it? Are they doing like a YouTube, or is it just like a live feed type thing?
There are 3 different places you can find it from Nintendo specifically. YouTube is one of them, but it's the 3DS. You can get it on there. You can get it on Wii U.
I suppose they would stream it to their own consoles.
Yep.
That makes sense.
And they'll also can get it on the Nintendo site.
Oh,
Which is what I
okay.
normally do, because it usually takes a little bit longer to get it on the consoles themselves.
Okay, so and this is something that just to clarify, what they're going to do is they're going to have their not quite like the giant reveal like we see it every E3, but we're just going to have like hey, this is what we're doing. This is a cool thing. Go about your day, and we'll talk about some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's not the only thing they're doing, though.
Okay.
The second thing they're doing is they're going to Best Buys and bringing the E3 demos there.
Oh,
Really?
Yes. The one nearest to Bremerton is actually in Linwood, so it's quite a ways from us.
oh, okay. Well, major Best Buys,
Yeah.
the Peninsula never gets any love.
Hey,
it's
we got G or what is the band of cell network that we got? 4G. We got 4G actually
Just recently.
No, actually, we were one of the first rollouts. To be honest, I don't know why it was here specifically, but we were there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Anyways, so the biggest thing that I'm most interested in finding out is what those demos are that they're going to bring to Best Buy. We don't know them yet. They're going to reveal them that morning.
Wow. Okay.
So.
Well, we can always assume that we're going to be seeing a Mario and a Zelda and a Metroid on the Wii U because,
Well, we don't really know the Metroid, but we definitely know the new Mario 3D, the new Zelda HD has been revealed to be in production, along with HD Wind Waker.
Oh, I did hear about that, the re-release of Wind Waker in HD.
And
yes.
supposedly Retro is showing, but that's not completely confirmed yet. So there's a lot of other games that Nintendo is showing, and hopefully we'll finally get games on the Wii U.
Yes.
Which hasn't happened in 4 months.
Right.
That is a really awkward scenario to be in.
I've had a couple friends who got the Wii U telling me, oh man, it's so fun. And the only thing I ever want to ask them is, what are you playing? What is it? I mean, are you still sitting basically playing the equivalent of Wii Sports Resort for the past year?
Yeah, it's pretty bad over there.
I will say, for in the Wii U's defense, I will say that it was kind of an interesting idea having one person have you done anything with the Wii U yet, Mark?
No, actually, I haven't touched it.
I had a small chance to play with it, and basically what one of the games is there's this hide and seek kind of game where 4 people are split screen on the television, and they're trying to catch one person who on his big controller he can see, he gets a top down view of the whole map, so he gets to see everything. Everyone else is just line of sight. So
yeah,
that's kind of interesting.
That's the thing is that when we first talked about the Wii U when they released it, we were talking about all the really neat things they can do with having one person with a different controller and just the foreknowledge of what the players on the screen might not have. And I just haven't seen anything that has caught my eye so much that I just need that system. I mean, I barely play my Wii as it is.
Yeah, that's quite true. But hopefully this E3 we finally show some games. They are showing quite a few of their mainstays, Super Smash Brothers and all that.
Well, there's that.
I guess I'm just worried though because it seems like Nintendo, like this has kind of been Nintendo's modus operandi for a while. Is that like they kind of have to like show everybody, hey guys, this is how you develop on our console, because like no one else is really willing to do it. But, like, the games that we're mentioning thus far, they don't, like, I can't see how having, like one of the large tablet controllers really adds to Smash Brothers necessarily in that design way. So, I'm trying to, like, Nintendo, you're going to have to really, like, pick up this ball and show people what you can do with this. And kind of like what you didn't do with the Wii.
Well, yeah, it took a long time for the Wii. I think it's because they didn't have that much money after the GameCube finished. They really didn't. They only sold 21 million consoles of the GameCube. They sold 100 million of Wii.
Yeah.
Well, the GameCube, you kind of like understand how to develop for that inherently because like you know this is a television, this is a controller, and like that's fine. But with stuff like the Wii and the Wii U, like no one really like everyone just kind of stood around and stared at each other awkwardly, saying, "What do we do with this?"
Yeah, the only third parties I think that ever got any success was Ubisoft and Sega with their Sonic games, and then Ubisoft's ridiculous shovelware that they put out. They put out Just Dance, which is one of the best-selling games on the Wii.
Somehow.
Next to Nintendo games. So.
Yeah. Realistically, I mean, I'll say the same thing about the Wii U as I've said about every Nintendo console that has ever been released is I'll probably buy it for Zelda. I'll probably play it just enough to play through those games, and then it'll sit on a shelf and do exactly what most Nintendo consoles do.
You haven't played enough Zelda games by now?
No.
Why? I mean, haven't you bombed enough, like,
No.
Haven't you seen enough, like, crumbly walls? They're like, oh, it's a secret door.
Didn't I ever tell you what those walls have done to me? I will bomb every last wall that ever gets between me and another rupee again.
I see.
All right.
Other than that, I mean,
right, let's move on.
So, like, I guess we don't really know, like, what they have in store for the games. I guess I just have that concern that, like, it's just going to be like, oh, here's these familiar characters without really necessarily saying, here's how awesome the Wii U is.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see that. The other big thing they're doing, which you've seen with Bayonetta 2. Wonderful 101. Which they basically are having Platinum do. They've been like outsourcing games and then bringing them in. Some of the examples are the Sega games, Sonic Lost World and Sonic and Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games.
Yay!
Yeah, I know. But the Lost World actually looks really, really good if you actually watch the trailer.
Is it anything like the old Sonic Adventure game for the Dreamcast?
No, it's completely new, and it is still very interesting. It kind of takes... there's a Sega game, a Sonic game that it actually takes off, but it kind of harks to Galaxy type of thing.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's like it's basically you're running... The one level I saw, you're running on just basically this giant rolling tube.
Huh.
And you're actually like running, and it would have different pathways, and it was kind of hard.
It wasn't like railroaded as much.
No, it wasn't railroaded. It's just this giant like tube going down.
Wait, how is a tube not railroaded? Or am I thinking of something different?
Well, I guess the tube probably had like things in it,
right? But
as
like
opposed to like normal.
A tube is inherently linear, dude.
Well, but the path through the tube, as opposed to most Sonic games where there is a single path that you are on, and then all it is just like maybe a jump here and there.
Well, sort of, but like then again, the game also expects you to explore for some reason.
Oh, well.
No, I want to run really fast.
That's kind of the point of Sonic.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what this one does. The other games are like Atlas is doing a Fire Emblem game, cross with their major JRPG, which is Shin Megami Tensei.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
A couple others. Super Smash Brothers is actually technically one of those because it's made by Namco.
Right,
It's developing by Namco, and they're bringing
yes,
it in.
that was a Switch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember reading an article about that was about how people were excited about Namco for some reason. Like I don't know what experience specifically that Namco brings that like makes it so much better.
What's the last thing I played from Namco? Really?
I'm struggling, but like, I mean, I know that there's a fighting series. I'm sure if you say Tekken, I'm going to believe you.
Yeah, it's Tekken.
Okay.
Dead or Alive? Who does Dead or Alive?
It might be them. I'm not real sure. I know they do the Tale series,
I think it
which
was
is my
Namco.
favorite. So.
To the internet?
I guess.
Um,
That's like asking me what's the last game I played by Midway.
The Battle of?
Battle of Nice. I like that. Well done.
The other two I know of is they're doing, but are on the 3DS, which is.
By the way, Dead or Alive, Tecmo Team Ninja.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The other two are Bravely Default Flying Fairy by Square Enix is being published in Americas by Nintendo.
Okay.
And Level 5's all of the Professor Layton's games have always been done that way.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's what they're doing, and I won't be surprised if we find a few more like that. And there's also, they have a new studios called Monolith. They did Xenoblade.
Monolith. Yeah, I know Monolith Studios, yeah.
That's a Nintendo-owned system, so technically Xenoblade is a new IP for Nintendo, which is weird.
Yeah, when Xenoblade was coming out, I was actually really intrigued, but I didn't know if I wanted to just jump into that. Like, I didn't know enough about it to get excited about it.
It's a really good JRPG, but it is definitely a JRPG.
Okay, well, that doesn't turn that off for me, because I'm still a fan of the JRPG. I love that style of game, and I probably will.
I love doing chores.
Yeah, I probably will until I grind myself into non-existence.
My only problem with that particular game is I watched it for 5 minutes and got the final, twist immediitely. So
darn. You just kind of had it pegged from the beginning.
Yeah, I had it pegged from the beginning.
Actually, the same thing happened to me when with Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I don't know why they did the big reveal in the trailer. That didn't make any sense. Like, I mean, it's just like, oh, I know what's going on from the very, very beginning. I suppose maybe I'm supposed to with the whole oh, his arm is in the moonlight now.
Well, yeah.
I guess it just seems like it just seems like building the mystery would have been more fun.
I guess, but it was kind of based off a theme park ride.
What?
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, that came first?
Yes.
I've never been to Disney World, so
neither have I.
So how do you know this?
It's a thing.
It's a very big thing.
It's kind of it's the thing. I mean, when they're like, "Hey, we're doing this movie, Pirates of the Caribbean," everyone's like, "Oh man, they're making a movie of the ride." How did you miss this?
Nobody ever said that to me.
So when Splash Mountain comes out, you'll be like, "Oh man, they're amazing! How did they come up with this?"
I hate you all.
Okay. Move on, please. Start talking. Shyguy, go.
Well, there's not much left for Nintendo. I'm hoping they do show a few more of those type of games. Because Miyamoto has actually said, I'm kind of done. I'm not gonna. I have no more ideas. New people have to do it.
I'm done with this.
Yeah, he's ready to retire, and he probably.
I thought he had actually. I know I heard an announcement some number of months ago.
He threatens it a lot.
Okay, fair enough.
This is it, guys. I'm done. One more Mario game. Okay, no, one more Zelda game. I got the. Just bear with me. I'm totally out of here. Just 5 more minutes, guys.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he's going through right now. But that's pretty much it for Nintendo. I am really interested to see what they do, and it is at 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning is when that Direct will show up.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, he's doing this by memory, so
unlike me, he's not looking at a series of memes.
Stop that!
No,
do the show.
I am doing the show. I'm. If I had not said that, no one would have known. I can function while looking at, the unhelpful high school teacher.
Yeah. All right. Well, where are we going next?
Well, I guess we'll go with we'll do Xbox One later because we have talked about that earlier.
By the way, while you were on the show, you are mandated to call it the X-Bone.
Yes, it is the X-Bone.
Okay.
Well, PS4. Well, yeah, Sony's been really tight-lipped about it. I mean, we know about their controller. We know it has a button to annoy your friends.
It has a blue bit on the back.
Yes.
There's not really much that they've let known. They have said that it can play used games, work on it.
Yeah, but no backwards compatibility.
No backwards compatibility, but neither does Xbone. So
yeah,
and
neither really does the Wii U very much, as far as I've heard.
Yeah, it has a full Wii.
GameCube.
well, not GameCube, but
It
it has
doesn't be GameCube games.
Not
Oh
yet.
man! Wow! That's. How about we have it play all the way down to the very first? Like, we need a cartridge, a little cartridge slot.
You know what? That was honestly something I really thought was a great idea with the Wii, was the backwards compatibility to the GameCube. And I don't really see a huge reason why they couldn't have done that with the Wii U. I guess, aside from the fact that
There's
no
reason for that the Xbox couldn't either. So I mean, like, it's just
I know.
by that logic anyway.
I know. I'm just saying that, like, you know, albeit right now, I'm sure Nintendo is not making a single dime off of any GameCube game sale ever.
Right.
So there's not really a monetary reason for them to do it, aside from just making something that would work.
And they'll probably reveal quite soon that, hey, GameCube games are now virtual consoles, so now you're going to buy them again.
Very true.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
All right, then.
That's what Nintendo does.
The backwards compatibility thing, and just to take a moment on that, you know, I never, when we'd had consoles back in the day, you know, that were just the cartridge consoles and everything like that, backwards compatibility was never a thing. I mean,
Right.
It just didn't exist. I mean, people, when they bought a Super Nintendo, they knew, oh, I guess I'm just going to play Super Nintendo games. Super Nintendo games won't work in this. It was just kind of a given. It really was the PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
PS2 was like the first backwards compatible console to come out because of the fact that there was a console prior to it that played discs that it could play.
Right. Well, I mean, but I think with migrating the content to the disc, it just became that much more viable to do it.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah, the first one Nintendo did was Game Boy Advance. So
you're right. Was Game Boy Advance was prior to PS2, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's actually, I'm curious about that because
Do you remember that project I was going to do? I was going to put like the entirety of the timeline of video games, like just like with PC.
where's that?
That's hard. I don't even
Get
know
on
how
it,
to.
Joe.
I'm trying.
But I mean, that's something that it just becomes such a huge thing. From the point where we were able to say, hey, I have these games and I want to continue playing these old games on my new consoles without having to switch consoles and switch consoles and switch. I mean, if the giant bundle of cables in our garage is any indication of how many consoles we have plugged into one TV, you know, just to go back and play a game that I haven't played in 10 years, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. But you know, when it comes to like the newer consoles, I mean, I specifically got a PS3 that was backwards compatible to my PS2 games, and then they started making ones that weren't.
Yep.
And that confused me.
Yeah.
But then it started to make sense as soon as the PlayStation's network store was there and they started releasing the older games. And it's like, oh, I get it.
Yep,
It's an entire, you know, limiting things that the console could technically do to make more money.
Yep.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
Well, and it's I guess what it kind of harkens to is like that perennial problem with video games in that like if we're treating it like this art form, like how do you preserve the art? Because like if it's all this proprietary stuff and then like the technology just kind of starts like just falling out of use and like we just like we're not really to the time when like NESs are like rare or anything, but
Yeah.
you know, on some level, some of them are kind of breaking down, and like eventually, how will they be played?
Well, here's an interesting question then, because this is something I run into a little bit more often. It's the backwards compatibility to old operating systems. I mean, when people come up and say, "Oh man, I really want to play this game," it's like, "Oh yeah, that's for like Windows 98." Okay, well, I want to play it on Windows 7.
Yeah, it's hard, but the thing is, we've worked it out in a lot of cases. Like it's not impossible.
No, but the thing is when in a lot of cases, there are very specific fixes for it. Like you have to, like when you're using DOSBox or when you're emulating an old version of Windows, you really have to tweak things to get some of these things to work properly.
Yeah.
And now consider trying to do that on a console for every game ever made for the previous console. I can see that being an issue. So I guess I have to take the side of like the lack of backwards compatibility nowadays is not just a monetary sense, but I can see them definitely having an issue with trying to give themselves the new technology, which is, I mean, the ridiculous amount of processing speed and RAM that you have in these new machines. I mean, have you ever tried to run a DOS game in DOSBox without tweaking it? The game starts and ends because it just goes through everything.
Yeah, it's
like,
it's just way too fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's like the console developer's responsibility to preserve video games, but it is an issue that is worth thinking about, and a lot of people do.
Yeah. But I mean, going back to the PS4 here, I guess. I mean, you know, what else do we really know about this aside from that they're really taking the social media angle as what they're going for?
Not necessarily. According to every Sony executive ever, they're just saying they're about games, but they have social aspects. Everything is attacked on to their system is just tacked on. It was something they wanted to do they wanted to enhance the games they're playing. That's their goal.
And the main thing is though that the games are the kind of the thing
yes,
they're focusing.
That was the game with the thing of focus, and that's why I really like the PS4 currently. But I don't know much about it because we don't. They say it's not always on, but technically, again, the Xbone is technically not always on.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I guess like it's just thinking about it, like with all the extra features that maybe the gamers care about, maybe they don't. But at least the features had like to do with the games as opposed to completely ignoring them.
Well,
I mean,
I'm sure the PS4 is still going to have the ability to watch Netflix and connect up to your home media network.
Yeah, but nobody questioned that, so they don't have to say it.
I guess.
Yep, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all, except for a few games, and there's a whole bunch of cubes falling in a really pretty scene, and that's pretty much what they showed. We haven't even seen the box yet.
Yeah, and what are we thinking game wise here? I mean, PlayStation has had a very few amount of really giant exclusives. I mean, aside from the Uncharted series, but as far as everyone's concerned, the Uncharted series is done. I mean,
yep. The new game, Last of Us, it's coming out this year.
Oh, yeah.
This week, actually. It's been getting really, really good reviews. I am personally not interested in it because it's not my style of game. It does look really, really good.
I'm probably going to buy it just because that is... I mean, Naughty Dog really impressed me with the Uncharted series, and with as good reviews I've been hearing about The Last of Us, this sounds right up my alley.
So that might be the PS4's Uncharted. So,
but is it a PS4 release or is it a PS3 release?
This one's a PS3 release. I believe it.
So we're talking kind of like not a Wind Waker, but a Twilight Princess release, where they're going to release it for the PS3, and then there's going to be the PS4 version that comes out on release day.
And everything will be mirrored.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's pretty much. I think that might happen. They're going to do Infamous 2. There's a
right. Seattle. It's taking place in Seattle.
Yes, it is.
Wait,
the new Infamous game.
Is it actually Infamous 2 or I know there was a sequel. What the hell was that called?
It was. I think it had a tagline, but it was Infamous 2.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just going off the top of my head, though. It's been a while since I watched
now that I think about it, because the Infamous was in like New York analog, then Infamous 2, which was, I think that was like a New Orleans type thing. And then the next Infamous is going to be is in Seattle.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was. I think it was 3 though.
Is it? I'm not real sure. I'm not. I kind of wanted that game, but I don't own a PS3, so I can't play it.
Right.
So,
so I mean, Infamous, I guess, is kind of their big thing. I mean, God of War were probably. I don't know if they've milked that cash cow to the extent it's going.
They're also getting the next Final Fantasy, but it's Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 13-3.
Oh Lord,
that one's coming out, but that's not the.
It's not part of the E3, I'm sure. But what I am kind of curious about is like, and this may or may not come up at E3. I'm curious to see if CCP is gonna put Dust 514 also on the PS4, because like there's like, since it's a downloaded game, there's kind of no reason not to, you know.
I guess.
I'm just saying, like it could look a lot better, maybe.
Do you think we're going to get like Steam support? I mean, because there was a little Steam support for some games for PS3, and I know Steam's coming. They're making the Valve box and all that. Are we thinking that we're going to see any sort of Valve support for the PS4, especially with his LinkedIn is there with all the other social media?
I'm not so sure.
Get it?
Get it?
LinkedIn.
Yes.
Social media.
Yes. We all. I know it's a thing.
Come on.
You get no bones.
Oh, come on. You just didn't recognize it.
No,
not my fault you didn't get my joke.
We've already had enough puns
come
at any
on.
rate.
Come on, this is MySpace.
Oh, hold on.
There we go.
We had to do that.
I did.
Anyway, so the PS4 is still kind of mysterious, still kind of just things on the horizon.
The nebulous Sony system.
Yeah, I know. We're going to find more about it tomorrow. So
true. I guess we'll just have to wait on that one. We can only speculate so much. I mean, I really dig the tech specs on it, though. Mm-hmm. It is a powerful little machine, and that makes me happy in all the right places.
Yeah, it's actually what kind of. There's been theories that it's actually thrown Microsoft through a loop because they changed that at the RAM specifically at the very last minute. It was going to be 4 of the GDR3 or
DDR3.
No, it's
GDR.
It starts with the G. I know that.
Somewhere.
I don't know the standard, so
yeah. Currently, if I don't remember exactly what the consoles are using, but I mean, like DDR3 is current desktop, desktop and laptop RAM. But
so yeah, it was enough to GDDR5 or it was something.
I know they're doing ridiculous things with
yeah,
this.
it's a ridiculous thing.
High amount of processors and various things and graphics accelerators.
There's a theory that's why Xbox One wanted to.
Good catch.
Yeah. Wanted to promote TV and what it does differently than the PlayStation 4.
Right, I mean, and that's something that, let's go ahead and segue directly here into the Xbone then, because, I've been hearing a lot of just naysaying and terrible things about the Xbone, and nothing I've heard so far is turning me off of it. I mean, everything seems perfectly acceptable.
And there's actually some really cool features that those same frustrations create. Specifically, the share feature that you have. You can, like, if you are playing your Xbone downstairs and Lisa wants to play it at somebody else's house, she can do that and use your games.
Yeah, like up to 10 people at a time or something like that?
No, it's 2 people at a time.
But
10 people
users
can use it.
Right. So, I mean, that's the thing is, like, if my game library wants to be accessible, like, what happens when you log into another computer with Steam? Well, it logs one of you out. So your game library is available on one computer at a time. We're already used to that when it comes to PC gaming. I'm going to go out and just kind of go on a tiny rant here. Almost everything people are complaining about with the Xbone is something PC gamers have lived with for a while, and it's fine.
But the context is far different than the PC, because the PC is all digital, and all the consoles have physical elements that are tied to the game.
But they don't have to be. Not anymore, especially since virtual consoles have been a thing. Especially since the Xbox Live Arcade and the PlayStation Store and the virtual console. Now, it doesn't matter anymore if you have physical media. It shouldn't.
Well, okay, but the thing is it really that bad to have a disc? Is it really just like crippling your experience?
It doesn't have to be. Why? Like, remember on PCs when you had to have the disc into play?
Yes,
and everybody hated it.
That's not.
It was stupid. I
mean,
it's
was
like,
fine.
Why do I need this? Because you need that one file on there to prove that you own the game, and people got by it anyway. It doesn't matter. The point is, on a console, it's like if they're going to keep everything bound to your account, that's the way things are going. Everything's bound to cloud accounts now.
I just want everybody to be aware that, like, by giving up the physical media on the disc, which, by the way, you're still going to have, so you're still going to have to deal with that frustration.
You don't have to. I mean, actually, one of the things they've been talking about, and a lot of the articles I've been seeing, is they say you can still go to a physical store and buy them for a quicker installation.
Yep.
You don't have to go and buy that media. The game is released, and if you go on to Xbox Live, congratulations, that game is released on Xbox Live, and you can just buy that game digitally. You never have to have a physical copy.
And just so you're aware, everybody, when you buy it digitally, you lose the ability to trade your game away. So if that's important to you, discs should be important to you. The Xbone, you're not going to have that choice.
And I still don't see that being a huge issue.
I haven't really sold a game in a really long time. I do like how pretty they look on my shelf, but that's pretty much it.
If all you're after is the collector's item, but I mean, if what you're saying is like, well, I want to be able to hand my game off to my friend so he can go and play that game, and then I want to be able to hand it off to this guy so he can play that game. I can see why on a monetary thing that the companies are like, well, we'd rather everyone buy their own copy. Well, of course they obviously would rather everyone buy their own copy. They want to make more money. But in this kind of case, they also don't want to be like, oh, one person buys a game, so his entire friend group does not have to.
But we do that with movies and music already, and we have done that for decades, and it's been fine.
And it's something that has kind of changed, and it's kind of the way the whole scape of media has been. With like all DRM purchased music and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, you go into iTunes and you buy your music, and you can't give it to anybody.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, if you personally are fine with the idea of non-tradable games, all right, but don't compare it with a PC and say, oh, well, because the PC does it, everybody should do it.
Well, okay. Now the thing is that what I'm saying here is, and you started out very much a proponent of PC gaming versus console. I mean, we've had this conversation.
Yes.
And something where when it comes to the standard that PC gamers have been living with and looking at the Xbone saying, okay, cool, they're basically treating it like PC. And that's fine, because realistically, that's the way that all the consoles eventually would go if given the opportunity, I'm sure.
Yeah, except maybe Nintendo, because
Nintendo's Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's always been a little off.
I guess what it comes down to is just like, go whole hog or don't go there at all. I mean, like with just like let's get rid of discs entirely if that's really a thing. Well,
that's kind of what they're doing. I mean, realistically, the console generation after this, I would not be surprised if there just weren't discs. If everything was digital release. I mean, it makes sense to have digital release it cuts down on all the costs. I mean, box art, omake, whatever, all the other stuff that's going to come with your game.
All right, so production of a game is not nearly so expensive as you're making it out to be.
No, but I mean, keep in mind if you're releasing millions upon millions of copies, even if it's $1 per game that it costs you to make the case and all the other stuff or whatever, then that's still millions and millions of dollars they can save by doing primarily and only digital release.
And it's a very slight margin. So
okay, yes, it's a slight margin, but you can call millions and millions of dollars a slight margin, but it's still millions and millions of dollars that they don't have to spend. And you call it what you want, but it's still a reality. But then keep also in mind about the fact of like digital release helps smaller game companies who can't afford that millions and millions of dollars of release that would be required with physical media.
And they already have their avenues, and that's great. So it is what it is, and the context is really important in this whole conversation, really.
And that's something that I just wanted to kind of get off my chest, because really, almost every person I've read about saying like, well, the Xbox is doing this, and they're saying like, well, it's terrible, and it's a bad direction for consoles. I'm like, well, I don't think so. I mean, because what consoles really were designed to be were entertainment systems in your living room. I mean, what was the Nintendo
Nintendo Entertainment System? That's what it was actually called.
The Famicom family
computer in your living room. We're talking about they were kind of bringing that sort of thing to your living room. What the Xbox is doing is the Xbone. I have to catch myself. What they're doing is they're just kind of dragging the PC experience into your living room, kicking and streaming.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, we don't have time to...
Kicking and streaming, give me this.
No! We really need to move back to the Xbone specifically and not get caught up on this...
Right. So, continue.
Yeah, I actually do want to... You mentioned smaller parties for a second, and I actually do want to talk about that for all three systems. And I do want to start with Xbone first, because... if you think about it, what they're doing right now is so draconian to these systems. You have to be published by something now. So there's like things like that Xbone is just not. Microsoft is just not doing things that.
Basically, they're kind of going backwards. They're turning back the clock as far as like indie developers go. Like it's like they're basically removing the Xbox Live. What is it? The indie game station, but leaving the arcade as like published through us. It's impossible to self-publish now.
I mean, if they extend the umbrella and do like a Steam Greenlight thing.
Yeah, we can get more games like Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, sure.
And then you get that, and then you look at like PS3, who's like toting their indie games and putting them up in conferences and showing them off. That's like big for indie developers.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that of all the things that have been said of all of the consoles, I still think that the strongest element that one of the consoles has, this one being the PS4, is in fact the focus that they're putting on developers. I think that that's like the most meaningful thing to game design that any of the consoles are bringing to the table right now.
I still feel that the Xbox has a very, very strong focus on developers.
Yes.
Developers.
Specifically, they are... I don't remember what the number was, but it was in the billions they're spending on new games for the system. So they are definitely going to have games. We're just going to have to wait and see what they are.
Yeah.
They said that they have 15 and 6 or 9. Nine works new IPs? 9.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so 9 are new IPs. What those IPs are, we don't know. It could be Kinect stuff. It could be shooters that they'd already had. It could be something completely new and interesting.
Yeah.
One of the 6 non-new IPs is actually an old IP from Rare, so I'm really excited to see that. But it's Rare now rather than Rare before.
I getcha. I mean, obviously they're going to have the staples that are going to be bringing the X-Bone into the new millennium. We're talking Call of Duty Ghost. We're talking the new whatever Modern Warfare is coming out. We're talking
whoever picked up the Halo franchise.
Yeah.
Halo 5
343 Studios, and that is probably going to be the largest reason I get an X-Bone.
We're probably going to see. Maybe we might see another Fable game, and we're probably going to see something like Connectimals or Dance Central. It kind of needs to be there. It was one of the best-selling games on the Xbox 360.
I'm not sure about the Fable thing. I feel like Peter Molyneux's kind of busy right now.
But he doesn't own the IP.
He doesn't have that anymore? Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, was it Lionhead Studios? No, who's got Fable right now?
It's probably still Lionhead, because I know he's not part of it.
He's at 22 Cans now.
Okay. Well, I mean, realistically, though, when it comes to like Xbox IPs, you know, I think we're pretty guaranteed we're going to get our staples.
Yeah. Well, why not?
That is our like shocking insight into E3.
Everybody knows we're going to be getting those, and that's just how it is.
Well, it's just like Wii U, and it's just like PlayStation 3, 4. It's going to be the staples. They need those on the system to sell the system to get the new IPs out.
Yeah,
which
very
is
true.
Kind of funny because I think, what was it, 2 years ago, all the developers were saying, we're not making new IPs until the new system comes out.
Yeah, we're all holding off, so you guys got to...
that is a really good point.
Deal with the scraps and save your money.
And to be completely honest, if you want to console game, we got to hope that this kind of turns around. I do pay attention to sales figures every once in a while on a site that's not that amazing. From this year to last year, every single console, including the 3DS, which is the one that was doing actually good, is down.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Well, last I heard, the console sales generally do plummet fairly decently right before a new gen release.
Yep. But that's kind of weird for consoles like Wii U and 3DS, specifically 3DS, because that system...
It's not really tied to the console generation quite so tightly.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it's not tied to the console generation tightly, and it is a system that has the games, its core games. It's getting even more core games coming out, like Animal Crossing just came out, and it's just a big game for Nintendo gamers. And there's just even more. There's Shin Megami Tensei 4, there's Pokemon XY, there is... Legend of Zelda.
Oh, they just started using letters now?
Sure,
Yeah.
why not?
Well, it's 3D, so now they're going to do X, Y, and then they can do Z later on. So
I get you.
That's so clever.
Yeah,
well done on them.
It's set in France, though, so I'm kind of excited for bits and pieces.
French Pokemon.
Yeah, French Pokemon.
Okay, well, I think that's actually all the time that we're going to be able to devote to that. We are running out of time, so
let's wrap it up a bit then. I mean, if we were to give a final impression, okay, Wii U, final impression, go.
I'm really excited about it, but that's because I'm a Nintendo gamer, so that is a specific console I'm looking at every single year.
Same.
I think they have a lot to show people, and they haven't had track record of like being able to really lead the way, so I'm worried.
Okay.
But their consoles have done this in the past. DS and the 3DS have done this in the past. GameCube did it too. It's kind of this is how they do it.
Okay.
And final impression for me, I just want them to make a frigging D&D game for the Wii U and get it over with, so I actually go and buy one. All right, final impression on the X-Bone. Go, Shyguy.
I'm not going to buy it. It's not a system for me, but that's because I'm a Japanese almost solely player, and X-Bone is not going to have anything for me.
Okay, Sam?
They still did not deal with the single greatest barrier to entry for the X-Bone for me, that being the fact that I have to pay a monthly subscription fee to play my games online when nothing else, like literally nothing else has that. So
now it's forced.
Yeah. Okay. My final impression, I'm probably going to get one because I willingly pay my Xbox Live subscription so I can play games with my friends who also play those games. They're going to have Halo. They're going to have the games I'm going to play, and I'll probably end up with one. And honestly, I'll have a Connect with it. So
you guys need to show it like a stand of solidarity and say, no, we're all going to play this other game together.
We're all going to move to PS4 instead.
Yes.
You know Halo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Halo. That's my apology here. Halo. All right, PS4. Shyguy, go.
Yeah, PS4. I do want. It's going to take me a while to get to it.
Okay, just monetarily wise, or
monetarily wise. There's a lot of games on there, and it will have the Japanese games I want.
Okay, fair enough. Sam?
PS4 is like there's a lot of extraneous stuff on there, but like I have been getting into the social media like streaming Twitch TV kind of stuff, so like that's at least more palatable to me than anything else. And the focus on developer has me kind of excited. We'll see if that actually means anything.
Okay. And of course, the rumor that was floating around of something about CCP doing something with the PS4 isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up with a PS4 as well. In the same way that I ended up with a 360 and a PS3, I'm probably going to end up with an Xbone and a PS4. And I'm probably going to play the exclusive games, and it's probably going to... I think I'm going to do a Switch this time, because right now my PS3 is my main console, my Xbox sits on my computer. I think with the Xbone it's going to become the main console, if only because of the TV tuner aspects and the other aspects that make it more of a central media machine that will tie in with Windows 8, so my desktop and my Xbox can talk to each other and run everything in my house for me.
I really want to sit, like, as soon as we have a more concrete release, I want to, like, sit down and do a feature for feature versus PS4 versus the Xbone, just to see, like, how many of the actual, like, you know, media center stuff I actually care about. Yeah. Because the PS4 already does or PS3 actually does a reasonable job. So
I've had such a terrible time getting all my media streaming to go back and forth, though. It really doesn't seem to be working out very well for me, but we'll see, because Sony and Microsoft are decent friends when it comes to getting their stuff compatible, but for whatever reason, I just can't get my computer to talk with my PS3 on any sort of amiable term.
All right. Well, at any rate, so that is all of the consoles and all of our hosts. So that means that we need to go back to saving the world for another week. I'm going to slow down on this particular little shtick, because evidently, like, this whole little shtick is not really, like, communicating. So let's go through these one by one. The things that you can do when you contact the Gaming Disquisition. You can contact us with a question. If, like, there's something that we talked about that you had a question on, or some, like, kind of D&D thing that's kind of bugging you, or something, you know, like, you know,
or if you have a question for another listener, I mean, we'll voice it for you.
So you can totally write us in with that. You can contact us with comments. Did something that we say just burn you up? Are we just flat out wrong?
Do you want to say something to Shyguy? Because we will relay that for him, too.
Oh, probably here. Looking it up.
You can give us your opinions, because we spend all show doing that.
We value your opinions
very slightly. I mean, highly.
This is my sincerity face.
All right, and you can give us, you know what, we do shout-outs all the time. You can give us the shout-outs that you want to, like, you know, if you got, like, a gaming buddy that, you know, listens to the show, we'll shout him out for you.
Or even a gaming buddy that you want to listen to the show, and tell him, hey, I gave you a shout-out in this show. Here, listen to it, because, you know, we're whores.
Wow. Well, you can shout out your favorite video game company, give them props or what have you.
Exactly, you know, and of course, show topics. We've done several show topics that have been advised by, you know, given to us by listeners, and honestly, we love talking about that stuff. So please, you know, if you have a show topic, if you want something you want us to chime in on, go for it.
Link us news articles. We certainly get a good number of those, so I'm pretty happy with that. But
Thank you, Dan.
If you find something really cool worth our attention, or something kind of Inquisition worthy, send it our way. If it's funny, we'll read it out. If it's not funny, we'll ridicule you on the air. And of course, you can always answer this week's Inquisition, which, in case you forgot, is:
when were you completely fooled, or completely fool someone else?
Send any of those kinds of responses to the email at gamingdisquisition@gmail.com.
You can reach us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegamingdisquisition.
Or on
the Google+.
Get a hold of us on Twitter.
I was waiting for him.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Well,
the wheel.
No.
Get a hold of us on Twitter at Disquisitor Sam.
Or at Disquisitor Mark.
On Twitter.
Tweet.
Thanks, and
scapegoat there for me. Thank you.
Thanks and shout outs this week. So Mark has some people to shout out.
Yes, I'd like to say, you know, happy anniversary to my loving and adoring wife, Lisa. 3 years as of tomorrow, married and 13 together. So that's always a great thing.
Hey!
Well, you know, and of course, shout out to my friend Amber. Happy birthday, same day.
All right, then. Shout out to Amanda and Brandy, listeners in one of my old places of employment, who are still at it and still waiting for me to shout them out on the show. So, shout out to both of you all over again.
I guess, you know. And hey, thanks to Dan and Havidakis for sending us your links this week.
Thanks to halc for his track Liftoff, Get High.
Hey, thanks to Shyguy for showing up and being on the show with us. We do appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, you definitely had a lot of expertise to share with us. I personally had really not been paying attention to a lot of E3 coverage, so it's nice to have that waiting for us.
Well, I honestly probably have to have you back if we're going to talk about anything having to do with JRPGs, because I think you're pretty much our local expert on that.
Oh, thank you.
You know, maybe next to Kuricon we'll get your kind of help us wrap that up, because I know you spend quite a bit of time there. So
yeah, I enjoy it.
Cool.
All right, then. And thanks to Avaris and Level 99 for their track, A Healer's Touch. And as always, thanks to all of our musical artist friends for letting us use your work on the show. Your work helps make our show what it is. We will be back 7 days from today to do this crazy thing all over again. Until then, game on, Internets.